Later that day, Damon gathered his pack in the great hall. The air was tense, the scent of wolves thick with unease. Layla stood beside him, her back straight though she could feel the weight of every stare. "Enemies are in this city," Damon announced, his voice like steel. "They've already struck once. They will strike again. Be ready." A murmur spread through the crowd. Some nodded, but others whispered, their glances sliding toward Layla. One man stepped forward, tall, with sharp features and eyes that burned with something darker than respect. His name was Kieran, one of Damon's lieutenants. "My king," Kieran said smoothly, "you risk everything for her." "A human. Our enemies know she is your weakness. If you want to protect the pack, perhaps you should—" His eyes flicked to Layla. "Remove the temptation." A low growl rumbled from Damon's chest, his eyes flashing gold. The hall went silent. "Say that again," Damon snarled, stepping forward. His dominance rolled through the air, thick and suffocating. Kieran lowered his head quickly, but his lips curled in a faint smirk. "Forgive me, Alpha. I only meant to protect the pack." Layla's blood ran cold. She could feel it. Kieran's words weren't just concern. They were poison, a seed of betrayal. And somewhere deep inside, she knew he wasn't finished. That night, Damon insisted on walking Layla through the estate grounds, away from prying eyes. The gardens stretched under the moonlight, quiet and peaceful, the air cool with the scent of jasmine. Layla leaned into him, her hand slipping into his. "It almost feels normal," she said softly. "Almost," Damon murmured, though his wolf senses stayed sharp. Suddenly, his ears twitched, his body stiffened, the hair on his neck rose. "Layla," he whispered, his voice sharp. "Stay behind me." Before she could respond, shadows burst from the trees, dark figures in black masks and armed with silver blades. The enemy had found them. Damon shoved Layla back against the stone wall, his wolf bursting forward. His roar shook the air, primal and furious. The first attacker lunged, Damon's claws ripped through him before he could strike. Another swung a blade, silver flashing in the dark. Damon dodged, but the edge grazed his arm, sizzling against his skin. He hissed, the wound burning, but he didn't stop. Layla's heart pounded as she ducked, clutching a broken branch. One masked man grabbed her arm. She swung wildly, smashing the branch across his head. He stumbled, surprised, and she tore free. "Damon!" she cried. Her voice drove him wild. He fought with savage precision, his body a blur of claws and fury. The masked men fell one by one, but more poured from the shadows. Layla's blood ran cold. There were too many. The battle raged. Damon's claws slashed, his teeth tore, but silver burned his skin each time a blade nicked him. Blood dripped down his chest, but his eyes never left Layla. One man lunged at her from behind. Damon saw, rage tearing through him. He threw himself between them, the blade sinking into his side. Layla screamed. "No!" Damon roared, snapping the attacker's neck with his bare hands. His body shook, blood pouring from the wound, but he forced himself to stand tall. His wolf refused to fall. The surviving enemies hesitated, fear creeping into their eyes. Damon took a step forward, his golden gaze blazing, his voice like thunder. "Tell your masters," he snarled, his words shaking the night. "The Alpha King bows to no one. If they come for my mate again, I will bring them war." The attackers fled into the shadows, leaving the ground littered with the groaning and broken. Layla rushed to Damon, her hands pressing against his bleeding side. Tears blurred her vision. "You're hurt. Oh God, Damon." He caught her face in his blood-stained hand, forcing her to look at him. His voice was ragged but steady. "I told you, Layla. You are mine. They'll have to kill me before they ever touch you." Her tears fell, but she kissed him anyway, fiercely, desperately, tasting blood and salt and love. And in that moment, she knew. This wasn't just his fight anymore. It was theirs. Layla pressed clean cloths to Damon's wound while the pack medic prepared a needle and thread. The cut was deep, edged with ugly purple where the silver had kissed his skin. "Hold him," the medic said. "I've got him," Layla whispered, though Damon didn't flinch. He just watched her with steady, burning eyes. She tried to breathe slow, tried to be calm for him. But her hands shook. "Does it hurt much?" He gave a half smile. "It's nothing." The medic glanced up. "It's wolfsbane laced." "It's not nothing." Layla swallowed. "What does that mean?" "It slows healing," the medic said. "It burns. It makes the wolf weak." He threaded the needle. "But he'll live." Damon caught Layla's wrist, squeezing gently. "Look at me." She looked up. His eyes glowed, gold and steady. "I'm not leaving you," he said. "Not now. Not ever." A tear slipped free. "Then don't dare die before me," she whispered. He huffed a laugh. "Bossy." "Good. You need someone to tell you what to do." He leaned in and kissed her forehead. The pain in his side didn't show on his face, but his hand trembled when he let her go. As the medic stitched, Layla scanned the bloody gauze, the metal bite of silver on his skin, the pattern of the strike in her mind. The timing, the location, the number of attackers. It felt too neat, too planned. Someone had told them where to find them. She thought of Kieran's eyes in the great hall, sharp, proud, angry. The way he said remove the temptation, the way he almost smiled when Damon stepped toward him. Her jaw tightened. When the medic finished, Damon reached for her again. "Stay with me tonight," he murmured, not a command, a plea. "I will," she said, but her mind was already moving, building a map of whispers and gates and doors. "And tomorrow, we find the leak." Morning brought mist over the estate gardens and a thin sun behind cloud. Damon slept at last, breath steady, color returning. Layla stood from the bed carefully and slipped out. She headed to the security room. Screens glowed with feeds from every corner of the grounds. 2 pack guards stared, confused, when she entered. "I need the gate logs," Layla said. "Last 72 hours, all access points, guest list, deliveries, staff movements, cameras facing the east wall and the south grove." One guard frowned. "The king is my mate," Layla said, voice flat, "and he told me to stand with him. Give me the logs." They moved. She pulled a chair to the console and started piecing the story. There it was. A maintenance van entering through the east service gate 30 minutes before the ambush. The license plate didn't match the vendor on the schedule. The gate code? Not forced. Entered clean. She rewound. The code was used 3 times in 2 days, different hours, same code. She pivoted to the authorization list. The code was registered to Kieran. Her heart went cold. She clicked into audio from a long, narrow corridor, one of the back hallways that fed the east gates. The feed had no video, only sound. After scrubbing through dead air, she caught a whisper. Barely there. "Tonight." "Yes, the gardens. He walks there with her. You'll have the code. If anyone asks, I was at the training ring." Kieran's voice, smooth, unhurried, confident. Layla saved the clip to a drive and slid it into her pocket. When she left the room, Kieran was in the hall. He smiled like a blade. "Good morning, my queen." Layla's fingers brushed the drive in her pocket. She kept her face empty. "Morning?" Kieran inclined his head toward Damon's door. "How is our king?" "Recovering." "Good." His eyes flicked to the bandage beneath her sleeve, where Damon's blood had stained her last night. "We'll need him sharp when our enemies return." "We will," Layla said, and walked past him, pulse loud in her ears. She reached Damon's room and shut the door fast. He pushed up on one elbow. "You shouldn't be up." "We have a traitor," she said. "It's Kieran." Damon froze. Then he swung his legs over the side of the bed, face turning to stone. "Show me." She played the audio from the drive and placed the printed gate logs in his hand. The proof was clean, solid, no guesswork, no doubt. Rage tightened his jaw. "He will answer for this." "Wait," Layla said. If we accuse him in front of everyone, he'll run. Or worse, he'll spin it, make it look like I set him up. We need to corner him with no exit, no way to twist. Damon's eyes softened for a beat. You have a plan? Yes. Call a council meeting. Full attendance. I'll lay the facts like a case in court. Then you do what an alpha does. He nodded once. Pride warmed his gaze. Stand beside me. Always. The great hall filled by noon. Wolves lined the walls, shoulders tense, eyes hot. Layla's heart thudded, but her mind was ice. She stood with Damon at the front of the room, the evidence drive cold in her hand. Damon's voice thundered, "We have a traitor in this pack." A ripple moved through the hall. Kieran stepped forward, chin high. "Who do you accuse, my king?" Damon's gaze cut like a blade. "Step into the circle." The circle was a worn ring in the stone, old as the pack. The place of challenge, the place of truth. Kieran stepped in, smirking. "I have nothing to hide." Layla moved to the console. "Gate logs show your code used to admit a false maintenance van the night of the ambush," she said, simple and clear. She tapped the screen. "Audio from Corridor 3 records your voice, time-stamped, giving details of the Alpha's route and the location of the gardens." Dozens of eyes swung to Kieran. Kieran tilted his head, unfazed. "You rely on human toys. Anyone could falsify a code. I can say the same for an audio clip. Who controls these systems?" His eyes slid to Layla, hungry to wound. "The king's human mate." A few murmurs rose, uncertain, ugly. Layla kept her voice calm. "Then we test the claim with something your human toys can't fake." She looked to Damon. "May I?" Damon nodded. Layla faced the hall. "Kieran, will you swear on your wolf that you did not open that gate to our enemies?" A hush fell. Swearing on the wolf was binding. A lie brought pain. A broken oath brought madness. Kieran's eyes flickered, just for a second. "I will not be ordered by a human." Damon's growl rolled across the stones. "Swear." Kieran's lips peeled back. He lifted his chin. "I swear on my wolf." His breath hitched. Sweat beaded his brow. The scent of fear cut the air. He swallowed. "That I did not, knowingly, open the gate." Gasps. The word knowingly hung like smoke. Layla stepped closer, voice low and merciless. "Did you give your code to another?" Kieran's jaw clenched. "Answer!" Damon snarled. Kieran's wolf whined, a sound only wolves could hear, but the fear of it shivered the room. "Yes," he spat, "to a courier. For supplies." "What courier?" Layla asked. "No name." "Convenient," she said. "Did the courier also tell you the king walks the gardens with his mate? Or was that your gift?" Something snapped in Kieran's eyes. Hate, pride, desperation. "She is the reason we are weak," he hissed. "She turns the pack's eyes. She pulls the king from the hunt. The enemy knows it. We all know it." Damon stepped into the circle, power rolling off him. "You speak of weakness while you sell your own pack. You would risk my mate's life to make your point?" Kieran's hand flashed, a hidden blade. Silver. He lunged. Damon was faster, but Kieran wasn't aiming for him. He was aiming for Layla. Damon moved like a storm breaking, catching the blow with his forearm. Silver split skin. The hall erupted, wolves lunging, bodies colliding. Kieran twisted free, slashed another guard, then sprinted toward the side doors. "Seal the exits!" Damon roared, blood dripping from his arm. Kieran crashed through a narrow passage, slammed a lever, and iron shutters dropped over the far doors with a brutal clang. He grabbed a young guard by the throat and dragged him close, blade at the boy's jaw. "One step and he dies," Kieran snarled. The pack froze. Layla's mind raced. If Kieran escaped, he'd carry the enemy every route, every weakness. If Damon charged, the boy's blood would spill before he reached them. She raised her hands slowly. "Kieran, look at me." His eyes snapped to hers, wild, cornered. "You think I'm the problem?" Layla said, voice steady. "So take me instead." Let him go. Damon's head whipped toward her. "Layla." She didn't look away from Kieran. "Trade me. I'm the one you hate. I'm the one you blame." Kieran hesitated, shock flickering under his rage. Then greed lit his face. The king's mate in his hands? A perfect prize. He shoved the young guard aside and reached for Layla with the knife. Damon exploded forward. The blade swung toward Layla's ribs. Damon took it with his palm, flesh searing, blood pouring. He ripped Kieran's arm back, twisted, and slammed him to the stone. The knife clattered away. "Yield," Damon snarled. Kieran spat blood in his face. "Never." Damon's fist crashed into his jaw. Kieran sagged, groaning. Pack guards pinned him, silver cuffs locking around his wrists. Layla didn't breathe until Damon turned to her. Blood ran down his hand in dark lines. She caught it in both of hers. "You can't keep doing that," she whispered, voice shaking. "You can't keep bleeding for me." His eyes softened. "I will, until there's no blood left." She closed her eyes, forehead touching his. "Then we end this fast." Damon lifted his head to the hall. "Kieran is stripped of rank and bound as traitor," he said, voice ringing. "He will be judged at the war's end. Until then, he rots." The pack answered with a rough, unified growl, but as guards dragged Kieran away, he smiled with broken teeth. "Too late, my king," he rasped. "They are already on their way." The warning wasn't a bluff. By dusk, scouts reported movement at the city's edge. Convoys, unmarked vans, armed men. By night, drones hummed over the tree line, small and silent, mapping the grounds. Damon stood on the balcony with Layla, the city lights low and distant beyond the dark sweep of forest. The wind carried smoke and rain. His bandages were fresh, his body hot with purpose. "They'll come for you," he said. "They'll use you to break me, to break the pack." Layla turned to face him. "Then we turn their plan on them?" A faint smile touched his mouth. "Tell me." She laid it out clean and simple. No frills, no waste. "Tomorrow, we send a message using the channels they monitor," she said. "Say you're ready to negotiate. Say you'll meet them at the old shipyard by the docks with a written transfer of authority, your crown, your lands, your power, to be signed under their protection. It's bait." Damon's eyes narrowed, intrigued. "We'll make it look official. Legal. They believe in papers when it benefits them. We seed the rumor that you'll come with only a small escort, tired and wounded." She exhaled. "They'll swarm. They'll bring everyone, because greed always does. And when they do," Damon said slowly, "we will already be there." In the shadows. On the cranes, under the floor, pack on every roof and alley. The shipyard gives high ground and long lines of sight. We'll control the trap. We end it in one night. He studied her for a long moment, the way her mind moved like a blade, the way her voice didn't shake. Pride burned bright in his eyes. "My queen," he said softly, "you are terrifying." "Good," she said, stepping closer. "So they remember me when they fall." He gathered her in, forehead to forehead, breath warm. "If they touch you—" "They won't," she said, "because you'll be there, and because I won't be a passenger in my own fate." He kissed her then, slow, fierce, a promise sealed in heat. When they pulled apart, the war room was already calling. Maps spread across the table, radios checked, blades cleaned, shooters picked their perches. Runners learned hand signals in case comms died. The medic packed fresh bandages and the bitter burn of anti-wolfsbane tincture. Damon moved like a silent storm, assigning squads, confirming routes, burning Kieran's old codes and replacing them with new ones. Layla stood at his side, confirming the legal documents that would bait the trap, the transfer papers that looked real enough to make a greedy man blind. On the last page, she paused. "Sign here," she said. His lips curved. "If I sign this, am I actually giving you my crown?" She met his eyes. "You already did." He signed. Not because the paper had power, but because the paper would pull their enemies into a cage they couldn't see. Before dawn, the pack fanned out. The shipyard slept under a bruised sky, cranes dark like giants in the mist, the water black and still. A single table sat in the open, a lamp burning, the papers weighed with a metal clip. To any camera, to any drone, it looked simple. It looked real. Layla stood in the shadow of a warehouse wall, earpiece snug, pulse steady. Damon was one level up on a catwalk with 2 lieutenants. He could see everything. He could see her. "On my mark," he said softly into the comms. Lights flickered at the far end of the yard. Engines growled. The first van slid through the gate like sharks through deep water. Then more and more. Doors opened. Men spilled out. Masks, rifles, the cold look of those who think they own fear. Layla breathed in once, out once. "Welcome to the end," she whispered. Damon's voice came calm and deadly over the line. "Hold." The enemy leader stepped forward, the same man from the warehouse, face healed, smile rotten. "Alpha King," he called, voice mocking. "We accept your surrender." The lamp on the table threw a small, lonely circle of light. Papers fluttered once in the wind. "Hold," Damon said again, eyes on Layla, on the leader, on the long lines of rifles pointing where they thought power stood. The leader put his hand on the papers and laughed. So easy to take a kingdom. He looked up and froze. Every crane blinked awake with silent figures. Every roof bristled with wolves. Every alley opened its mouth to teeth. Damon stepped into the light, eyes gold, voice like winter steel. "You came for a crown," he said. "You found a pack." "Now," he said into the comms, and the night erupted. The shipyard exploded with sound. Wolves dropped from cranes like shadows with claws. Snipers fired warning shots from rooftops. The enemy scrambled, their rifles snapping upward, panic slicing through their ranks. Damon's roar cut through the chaos, shaking the ground itself. His wolf surged forward, massive and black, slamming into the first wave of gunmen. Their bullets sparked uselessly against his fury. Layla ducked behind the steel crates, her heart pounding, but her mind sharp. She tracked every move, calling into the comms. "North alley clear, crane 3, 2 men down but 1 left standing. Push them east." The pack moved like a storm around her, following her voice. Her strategy turned the field into a cage. But the enemy leader didn't run. He stood at the center, smirking as his men fell around him. His hand dipped into his coat. When it came out, it wasn't a gun. It was a vial. Wolfsbane, Layla's blood went cold. "Damon!" she screamed. The leader hurled it. The glass shattered against Damon's chest, green mist searing his skin. Damon howled in agony, his wolf writhing under the poison. He collapsed to one knee, muscles spasming. The enemy cheered, rallying. "The king falls," the leader roared. "Finish him." Layla's scream tore through the night. Damon staggered, his claws scraping the steel floor, blood burning with wolfsbane. His wolf tried to rise, but the toxin dragged him down, choking his breath, blurring his vision. Bullets rained. Wolves fought to shield him, but the leader's men pressed hard. Layla crawled across the ground toward Damon, dodging sparks and screams. She pressed her hands to his face. His golden eyes flickered weakly. "Don't you dare leave me," she whispered, tears streaking down her cheeks. "Not now. Not like this." His voice was raw, broken. "Layla, go." "No," she snapped, fury slicing through her fear. "You said I was your strength, so let me be." Her eyes darted to the table, the papers, the lamp, the metal clip. Her mind raced. Think like a lawyer. Find the crack. Find the weapon. She grabbed the lamp, smashing the bulb against the steel. Sparks flew. The broken glass cut her hand, blood dripping down her wrist. She pressed her bloody palm to Damon's chest, right where the wolfsbane burned. The scent of her blood hit him like fire. His wolf roared inside, recognizing its mate, fighting harder than ever. "Breathe, Damon," she cried. "Fight for me." With a primal snarl, his body convulsed. His eyes snapped wide, glowing gold like the sun breaking through storm clouds. His wolf surged back, stronger, burning the poison with the bond of their blood. He rose, towering, unstoppable. The enemy leader's smile died as Damon stood, his wounds smoking but his body unbroken. "You should have killed me when you had the chance," Damon growled. His voice was layered, man and wolf, thunder and fire. He charged. The ground shook as Damon slammed into the leader, claws raking, teeth snapping. The leader slashed with silver, but Damon caught his arm, bones snapping like twigs. Layla shouted commands into the comms, her voice steady. "Pin the east flank, cut their retreat." The pack surged with renewed fury, their king alive, their queen commanding. The leader tried one last trick, pulling another vial of wolfsbane. But before he could throw it, Layla hurled the broken lamp base. It smashed against his hand, shattering bone, sending the vial spilling harmlessly across the ground. Damon lunged, jaws clamping on the man's throat. He slammed him into the steel floor with crushing force. The enemy leader gasped, choking. Damon leaned close, his voice a death sentence. "This is for every drop of blood you spilled." With one final twist, the battle ended. The shipyard fell silent, the night echoing only with the groans of the defeated. Wolves lifted their heads and howled in victory, their voices rolling over the city. Damon stood in the circle of moonlight, bloodied but unbroken. Layla rushed to him, throwing her arms around his massive form. He shifted back, pulling her close, forehead pressed to hers. "You saved me," he whispered. "No," she said softly, smiling through her tears. "We saved each other." Days later, the estate was alive with firelight and music. The pack filled the hall, their wounds bound, their spirits unshaken. Tonight wasn't war. Tonight was rebirth. Damon stood before them, Layla at his side, his arm wrapped around her waist, steady and proud. "She is my mate," Damon declared. "She is my queen. She fought beside me, saved all of you. From this day forward, her word is my word. Her strength is my strength. She wears the crown not by accident of fate, but by the fire she proved in battle." He turned to her, eyes burning with love. Slowly, he lifted the silver crown of the Alpha King, but instead of setting it on his own head, he placed it gently on hers. The hall erupted in howls, bows, and cries of loyalty. Layla's heart swelled, tears glistening in her eyes. She had never felt more seen, more alive. Damon leaned close, his lips brushing her ear. "Forever, my queen." "Forever," she whispered back. Their lips met, sealing the vow not just with passion, but with destiny. The pack howled in unison, their voices echoing into the night, carrying the promise of a kingdom reborn. And as Layla clung to Damon, her king, her mate, her everything, she knew the war was over, but their story was only beginning. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and drop a comment below to share your thoughts. Your support helps bring more powerful stories to life.